revolutionizing the way people treat people in business. The Experience Pros, America's home for positive business talk.
Hey, welcome back to the America's home for positive business talk. Angel Tussey and Eric Kramer on your journey to excellence. Sometimes we need well, by we, I mean me. I need a map, a road guide, if you will, to how to do things intentionally.
I was thinking, I've been in the car with you, and yes, you do need a map. Have you ever go out of town? This is why I love the Lyft and Uber drivers.
Yeah.
Because you ever go out of town, we're so geographically challenged,
sure.
Right? When we're here in Colorado, we have the mountains that are to the west of the city. So we always know which direction we're going because we can just look at the mountains and see which, we just know where we are. We can get our bearings. When I would go and visit my daughter when she was down in Albuquerque, going to the University of New Mexico, there were mountains, but they were on the other side of the town. So it totally threw me when we were driving around trying to get my bearings straight. But when we're thinking about a roadmap and we're thinking about these guideposts, a survey was actually done, a study of 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And of those 3,000 people, 96% of them reported that they were just living on autopilot, going through the motions.
And I believe that. I believe that there's so many people. And how do you live by design instead of by default? Default is just basically letting stuff happen to and around you.
Right. They say it's that because we are in such a state of overwhelm these days, that autopilot is our default mode.
I believe that.
An epidemic of subconscious decision making, the average person making 15 mindless decisions every day. Stuff, I'm not even thinking about. We're just going. We're just doing. We're just moving. It adds up to over 250,000 autopilot decisions over a lifetime.
Now, I happened to listen to a comedian earlier today who was going through one of those kinds of autopilot decision-making processes where his girlfriend said, do you want to go get something to eat? And he came back and he says, well, what do you want to eat? And she says, I really don't care. Just let's go get something to eat. Well, what do you want to eat? I don't care. Back and forth. So he says, okay, let's go for Italian. I hate Italian, she said. But it's those autopilot decisions that we don't want to make for ourselves. Let's take back a little bit of our decision-making process and subsequently our outcomes.
Well, because if it's all autopilot, then we're not living intentionally. And I think for many of us, we have a life that we kind of dreamed or imagined or hope that it could be, right? But if we're not currently in that space, living on autopilot isn't going to get us any closer to that. And I think we're living in this paradigm shift, right? We've got one step in, this is just the way it is, and I'm doing the same thing I do every day and nothing's changing. And one foot over here, and in 10 years from now, my life's going to be so much better.
Yeah. So step one, set your compass. And think about this. Our friend Carrie Conley says this: vision is everything, right? Vision is victory. Any area of your life in which you have no vision for what you want most, it could be career or business, it could be relationships, physical well-being, finances, lifestyle, any of it. You're like a ship adrift at sea.
Right. And that's the whole concept of being on autopilot. But what do you really want?
There you go.
Can you picture it? Do you see it? Can you taste it? Can you smell it? Or is it just kind of in the back peripheral? When you bring it to the front page, and this is where vision boards, this is where mantras, this is where you get to actually make decisions every single day. And those decisions actually become more exciting because they're moving you in the direction of that vision and not just keeping you floating along.
Eric Thomas, the country singer, writes, how bad do you want it? And that's the kind of mentality that we have to have if we're going to be specific and directional in our decision making.
And I think we really want it badly until something comes along to rock it.
Sure.
Right. And a distraction, a challenge, a naysayer, and all of a sudden we're questioning, do I really want it? Do I really want to have to deal with this? And so we go back to, so having that really clear vision, which is, it's going and sitting in that dream car. It's going to another country and seeing where you're going to adopt your child, or the charities that you're going to make an impact in. It's really putting yourself in that space so that you can feel it, you can see it, so you have that reminder when the challenges come up.
If the vision is the dream, then goals are the action steps.
Mm-hmm. Right? Little baby steps. So every day, it's just little steps getting you closer. Can you chunk that big vision down into steps? And each step has a couple of action steps, right? And so if we're just doing a little bit to get us closer and celebrating those milestones along the way, we look back and see how far we've really come. What do we really want to do? One of our regulars here on Experience Pros, Janice Rendon, she's co-hosted a couple of times.
Yep.
She tells this story that she thought she wanted to host her own radio show.
Right.
And, had never done it before, and, started just talking about it. And next thing you know, she's being invited to be the co-host of a show, the guest host of a show. So when you start to picture it and you start to realize it, and you start to talk about it, you start to take action steps that actually make that more real.
How about this? Review your goals on a regular basis and your vision. Is this still what I want to do? She could have gone on and found, this really is not for me. Mm-hmm. Right. And both options are viable. You just have to review and make sure that you're on course.
And here, I love this piece too. To set reminders in your phone or have visual triggers around you to help you remember what it is that you are doing, where it is that you are going, and who it is that you want to be. What are you focusing on? What are you feeling? How present are you in that vision? Have you just allowed the day's distractions to get a hold of you? Mindfulness, they say, is a muscle. And the more you practice it, the more you strengthen it. To ability to make decisions that are not guided by short-term impulse, but by long-term commitment to living a life that truly matters.
The path of least resistance may feel safe. It may be comfortable. And it may require a little of you, but it will never lead your soul to that real deep success that you're looking for. All right, we're going to take a quick break and reset for the hour number 2 of the Experience Pros radio show, home of positive business talk. We mentioned how to become an influencer. If you want our CD on that for free, go to WeMakeYouVisible.com, WeMakeYouVisible.com, and we'll be back after the top of the hour news.
You're listening to the Experience Pros radio show, America's home for positive